So there's a great deal of help that can be put in place for children in every school. Every school expects to have quite a number of children with autism, and they expect to have quite a number of children with communication and interaction needs as well. Using the SEN support guidance and the SEN code of practice, schools have a great deal of information about how they can adapt the curriculum, how they need to assess and understand the individual needs of students, and the sort of strategies that they can put in place. Oxfordshire has its own SEN support guidance, which is very structured. It looks at all the different types of special educational need, but for the children with communication and interaction needs, which includes autism, it has a really structured checklist of different strategies that can be tried, and they're not highly specialist. They're all quite simple things really that anybody with a good understanding of a child's needs can put in place. Simple things like remembering that a child might need processing time, they might need more time to understand what's been said. They might need something simple like a separate workstation where they can focus more easily on the task. They might need just a different way of communicating. Lots and lots of really simple strategies, and they're all set out in the SEN support guidance, which every school has access to. Where it goes beyond what a school can provide, there are specialist support services that can offer an additional overlay of support. So, for example, the service that I manage is the Communication and Interaction Support Service, and we would come into schools with a range of different a number of different levels at which we can offer support. Our aim is always to skill up the mainstream workforce so that everybody has the skills they need to understand and put in that first layer of support that I've just described. Where a little bit more is needed, we would be offering specialist advisory teachers to come into the school, work with the SENCO, talk to them about what the needs are, what strategies they've put in place already under the SEN support guidance, and from there they may be identifying additional work that's needed for those children who need a little bit more specialist support. The ways in which that's delivered are numerous. It could be that the advice and guidance that's offered is enough, and the teacher or the teaching assistant or the SENCO, the SEN coordinator, can put that in place. It may be that they want a little bit more of a specialist input, so we also have advisory support workers that come into schools, and they can provide one-to-one work. They can deliver group sessions with young people, and they can work alongside modelling strategies with staff who work in the school. Absolutely not. Our service is the Communication and Interaction Support Service. So we work with any student who's got speech language communication needs. We work with any student who's got a diagnosis of autism, and anyone in between. So we absolutely do not want to wait for a diagnosis before we start working with schools to help them with strategies, because it's a pointless delay. You know, we want children to get the support they need at the earliest possible opportunity, and so we prefer to be told about a child, to have a child referred to us, or to have a discussion about a child at the point at which the school is starting to be worried and where they've tried the strategies in the SEN support guidance and they feel that they need a little bit extra. Well, in relation to our service, that's not the case, because our service is free at the point of delivery to schools, so they can call us in within obviously the criteria for our involvement. They can call us in for free. We are involved in every school in the county as well. Every school has a named advisory teacher, so there is no reason for a school to say, oh, we don't know who they are, or we can't afford to have them. But that's in relation to our service. In relation to other things, I believe that the adaptations needed to make school a positive and a good learning environment for young people, generally speaking, are not very expensive. They actually are about the interactions that people have with children, with the child with autism. They're about being flexible, about being willing to deviate from what is needed for all children sometimes and do something a little bit different. But those things don't tend to come at a high price. They tend to be about individuals thinking differently about how they interact with other individuals. Challenging behaviour can arise out of a lot of different reasons. With young people with autism, it's very frequently linked to their anxiety. It may be often linked to their sensory needs, and the school environment is quite challenging in terms of the sensory demands it places on people who have sensory sensitivities. Teachers and we have a great interest in young people's mental health because we know that happy children learn and unhappy children don't learn. And so we do have an interest in the mental health of young people and the well-being of young people. And I think there's a great deal that schools can do to create an environment in which young people are feeling comfortable and happy. It's certainly not an automatic one step and then the EHCP is the next step. Because as I've explained, there's an awful lot that schools can do under school support without needing an education, health and care plan. And many schools are putting in Oxfordshire, putting in a great deal of support and have a really good level of understanding. Probably the first thing I would say to schools in an advisory capacity would be the best way to understand the individual needs of any child with autism would be to ask the child. Every child with autism has a different perspective on life and they have different strengths and different needs, and there are different difficulties that they face in school. So the most important way to find out what those are would be to ask the child, how do you like to be supported? What works for you in terms of planning your school day? What help do you need, rather than coming in with a fixed idea of what that young person might want. I think for parents, a key thing is, and I must be careful how I say this because I can get a bit strident, is not letting the relationship with the school break down and we're always working with the school. Possibly. Sometimes teaching assistant support can be really helpful for young people with autism, but it's not always, and it's not the only way that their needs can be met. So I would expect that to be part of a broader assessment as to whether a TA is the best way to support a child. The SEN support guidance published by Oxfordshire is available on the schools pages of the Oxfordshire website, and every SENCO in every school is able to access that. Okay, a tremendous amount, both from the local authority, from your school, and from public sector, non-government organisations as well. And that's all brought together under the local offer. So if you search Oxfordshire SEND local offer, you'll find every information about our service and information about all sorts of other services and support for parents, parent groups, all that sort of thing comes under the SEND local offer.